conflict or an obstacle, just on its own, doesn't necessarily make the audience care about your story or your character. And we want the audience to care about our character, because that will give them a feeling of being part of the story. So why does the audience care? Why do we care about anything in a story? We only care if there are stakes involved. And no, I'm not talking about meat here. I'm talking about stakes as in something might fail, and when it fails, something happens. What is the risk if a character fails? Those stakes are very important when listening to a story. The higher the stakes, the more enjoyable it is for the audience to listen to the story. So it's a good idea, as you can see in many stories, to have the stakes raised throughout the story. The closer they get to the end, the bigger the stakes. There are three types of stakes: the external ones, the internal ones, and the philosophical ones. External stakes are about what is going on in the world around the character. It could be that the weather is so bad that the harvest is failing and that people can't eat. That's a pretty big stake if the harvest fails. These are physical stakes. In business stories, it could be that a business has problems surviving if something doesn't happen. If that one deal doesn't happen, this business will fail and people will lose their jobs. Internal stakes are very psychological. For example, in a love story, it's about the journey that the character goes through, realizing that they're actually in love with someone, or that it's not just about them what makes a relation work. In business stories, it's about businesses realizing they need to work in a certain way to be successful. They might realize that they're not capable of doing it on their own. They need help from the outside. When it comes to internal stakes, one thing is always the same. It's emotional. There are emotional consequences attached to the stakes. If something goes wrong, people get hurt emotionally. The philosophical stakes are about values. Are people making the right choice when it comes to values? Or are values changing? Are they going to choose the good or the bad part? Are they going to choose for the money, or are they going to choose for their friendship? Those are philosophical stakes. Start writing down all the potential stakes you can think about. What if is very important here. What if this goes wrong? What will happen? Make sure you highlight all the stakes in the story. Remember, the higher the stakes, the more attached people will be. So write down all the stakes you can find and then cross out the ones that are least important.